In the time of Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, after Allah had delivered the children of Israel from the tyranny of Pharaoh, towns and settlements gradually began to flourish once again. In one of those cities, the people lived suspended between hope and fear, under the rule of a governor renowned for his immense wealth and magnificent palace. He owned vast stretches of land and treasuries overflowing with gold, yet his heart was more devoted to riches than to justice. His greed and pride grew with every passing year until the people feared him deeply and no one dared to challenge his authority or question his decisions. The governor paid little attention to the poor or the needy. Instead, he measured a person's worth by the wealth they possessed and the influence they held. And with every fortune he accumulated, his pride and arrogance grew even greater. Before long, he became convinced that his power would remain in his hands forever, and that no one would ever dare stand against him or question his decisions.
Behold the prosperity of our great city, built by the sweat of our people. Let order be maintained, and all shall flourish under my vigilant eye.
On the other side of the city, far from the grand palaces and bustling marketplaces, lived a poor man named Salem. He owned nothing more than a small, humble home and a modest carpentry workshop. Yet he possessed something far more valuable than all the gold in the world, a sincere heart and an unwavering honesty that everyone who knew him admired. The people often said, "Whenever two people disagree, ask Salem, for he speaks nothing but the truth."
See, my dear, each tap shapes our future.
It's beautiful, Papa.
Such skill, my son.
Every morning, Salem would rise with the first light of dawn. After performing his ablution, he would begin his day's work with dedication and gratitude. He crafted doors, tables, and finely made wooden chests, working tirelessly until sunset. By the end of the day, he earned just enough to provide a modest meal for his elderly mother and his young daughter. Yet despite the hardships of poverty, no one ever heard him complain. Instead, he would always say, "Provision is in the hands of Allah, and what Allah has in store is far better and everlasting." As the first rays of dawn began to spill over the mountaintops, Salem awoke as he always did to the cheerful songs of birds and the gentle breeze of the early day. After performing his ablution, he prayed that Allah would bless his day and provide for him through honest work. Then he placed his wooden-handled axe upon his shoulder and quietly left his humble home, his heart filled with gratitude and contentment. As on countless mornings before, he made his way toward the valley, a place of towering trees, ancient rocks, and tranquil paths that had long witnessed his daily labor. Bathed in the soft golden light of the rising sun, Salem began gathering firewood and cutting dry branches, completely unaware that this ordinary morning was about to change the course of his life forever. He was only moments away from a discovery beyond anything he had ever imagined. His axe and brought it down upon the trunk of a dead tree. A strange sound suddenly echoed throughout the valley, a sound unlike anything he had ever heard before. It was not the familiar crack of iron striking wood, but a deep, resonant clang, as though his axe had struck a solid object hidden beneath the earth for countless years. Salem paused his work and struck the very same spot once again. The mysterious sound echoed through the rocky valley once more, reverberating among the ancient stones. An eerie silence then settled over the landscape, leaving only the gentle rustling of the trees and the soft whisper of the morning breeze. In that moment, Salem became certain that something extraordinary lay hidden beneath his feet. He knelt down on both knees and began carefully brushing away the soil with his hands. With every handful of earth he removed, the edges of an ancient bronze object gradually emerged from the ground, little by little, as though the earth had been guarding a secret for countless years, patiently waiting for the moment it would finally be revealed.
In moments, a large chest emerged before him.
its surface weathered by the passage of time and its sides adorned with ancient carvings that had nearly faded beyond recognition. It was unmistakably old, having lain buried beneath the earth for decades, perhaps even for generations known only to Allah.
His heart began to race as he stood silently gazing at the ancient chest. He slowly looked around, but there was no one else in the valley. The towering mountains stood motionless, and the trees remained perfectly still, as though all of nature were holding its breath, waiting to witness what would happen next. Gathering his courage, Salem reached for the lid of the ancient chest and slowly lifted it open. In an instant, the brilliant glow of gold reflected across his face. The chest was filled with gleaming gold coins, and beside them lay an ancient royal signet ring, intricately engraved with the emblem of a long-forgotten kingdom, a silent relic from a distant age. Salem stood in silent astonishment before the treasure, his mind overwhelmed with countless dreams that such wealth could make possible. For a fleeting moment, he imagined a life free from poverty, a larger home for his family, a better future for his daughter, and a workshop where he could work without hardship. But he refused to let those thoughts take hold of his heart. With quiet determination, he gently closed the chest and said to himself, "If this treasure does not rightfully belong to me, I will not allow it to become the reason I lose my honesty." Little did Salem know that this single decision, born of integrity and faith, would become the beginning of an extraordinary journey, one that would forever change his life and perhaps even alter the destiny of the entire city. As the sun began to set, Salem arrived at the governor's magnificent palace, which stood high above the city as though watching over everyone below. The palace gates were crowded with guards and servants, all astonished to see a poor carpenter carrying a heavy bronze chest upon his shoulders. After a long wait, Salem was finally granted permission to enter the grand hall of judgment. Standing calmly before the governor, Salem gently placed the ancient chest on the floor and said, "I discovered this chest buried in the valley. I have brought it here so that its rightful owner may be found, or that justice may determine what should be done with it." A profound silence filled the hall. Every eye turned toward the unopened chest, while expressions of curiosity and amazement spread across the faces of those in attendance.
Bring me that chest! It belongs to me!
True wealth cannot be stolen, Your Excellency.
You must listen to the cries of your people. True power cannot be sustained by fear alone.
The governor motioned for his guards to open the chest. The moment the heavy lid was lifted, the brilliant glow of gold illuminated the entire hall, its dazzling light reflecting in the governor's eyes. In that very instant, his expression changed, and greed took hold of his heart. A subtle smile appeared on his face before he declared in a firm voice, "Anything discovered within the lands of this city belongs to its ruler." A few of those present wished to object, but fear of the governor's wrath kept every voice silent. Among those gathered was an elderly man, respected throughout the city for his wisdom and fairness. He stepped forward with calm confidence and addressed the governor, saying, "My lord, justice is the foundation upon which every kingdom stands. No one has the right to claim what does not belong to him." Once again, silence filled the hall. The people looked from the wise elder to the governor, anxiously waiting to see what would happen next. As for Salem, he remained standing with humility, seeking nothing except that justice should prevail. The governor's anger flared as he heard the elder's words, for he regarded them as a challenge to his authority. Striking the arm of his throne with his fist, he ordered the guards to seize both the elder and Salem and throw them into prison, determined that no one would dare oppose his decision. The soldiers escorted them away through the crowded hall as sorrow spread across the faces of the people. No one possessed the courage to defend them openly, yet countless hearts silently prayed for their safety and for justice to prevail.
Even in the dark, the stars still shine. Our hope will guide us out of here.
As darkness fell, the sky above the city began to change. Thick, black clouds gathered overhead, while fierce winds swept through the streets, causing doors and windows to rattle violently. Moments later, thunder roared across the heavens, and flashes of lightning illuminated the night again and again, as though all of nature were warning that something extraordinary was about to unfold. Inside the prison, however, Salem remained calm and steadfast. He quietly remembered Allah, placing his complete trust in Him, convinced that truth and justice are never lost in Allah's sight, no matter how much time may pass.
Run for your lives! The tower is falling! Watch out below!
In the middle of the night, a large section of the governor's palace suddenly collapsed. Massive stones crashed to the ground, burying many of the treasure vaults in which he had placed so much pride. Panic spread throughout the city as people witnessed the destruction before their very eyes. At that moment, they realized that wealth cannot protect its owner when justice is abandoned, and that no matter how long oppression endures, its end will surely come. The governor stood before the ruins of his once glorious palace, powerless to save the riches he had spent a lifetime gathering. The following morning, the city's respected elders and wisest leaders gathered to consider the matter with fairness and wisdom. They ordered the release of both Salem and the elderly man. After careful consultation, they agreed that the treasure should be used for the benefit of the people, to help the poor, support widows and orphans, and improve the lives of those in need, so that the wealth would become a source of compassion rather than greed and conflict. Everyone looked at Salem with admiration, for they had come to realize that his honesty was far more valuable than all the gold he had discovered.
I deeply regret my actions, and I ask for your forgiveness. May peace be with you.
We are approaching the tent of Moses. He is the one who will judge between us. This treasure is a heavy responsibility, and justice regarding it is our duty.
We must seek guidance from above. True justice belongs to the heavens, not to greedy hands. Let divine justice decide its rightful owner.
Salem returned to his humble home exactly as he had left it, with a peaceful heart and a soul filled with contentment. He asked for no reward and felt no regret for choosing honesty over wealth, for he knew that the greatest treasure a person can possess is integrity and the pleasure of Allah. As the years passed, Salem's story continued to be told from one generation to the next. It reminded people that wealth may disappear, power may fade away, but honesty, integrity, and justice are timeless virtues. They are the treasures that endure, elevating those who uphold them in this world, while they hope for an even greater reward in the hereafter.
Every hand joined together to lift up the weary. As new walls rose to welcome the children, hope was restored to every heart.